Cheers, guys. Oh, we are in good shape. How handy is that? I think we can do a live show. How handy. Cheers, guys. Glad you could join me tonight. I do not have a whole heck of a lot tonight. Just a quick broadcast. Check this out. We're going to do the first of the assembly of my brand new quadcopter build. Hey, John. Cheers, buddy. Glad you could make it. I just painted this yesterday. If you follow me on Instagram, you may have seen this. This is my first attempt at dip painting. This is going to be my new 210 quadcopter build, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. It's not the best, but it's way unique. Like, no other quad frame in the world is going to look like this. So tonight I thought I'd quickly go ahead and get things set up to go ahead and assemble this. Now, caveat. Unfortunately, cheers, Armando. Cheers. Is that Mario? Cheers, buddy. Caveat. Due to the way that I have to do YouTube videos, unfortunately, we can't assemble this all tonight. Hopefully my audio is a little better tonight for you guys. What I can do is I can go ahead and get things kind of like laid out and set up the way I always do and get ready to assemble. And maybe we can do some of the prep work with the speed controls and stuff, but because I need to do the video on the dip painting on this, I can't completely assemble it because I need to show off the frame. That's one of the drawbacks. John's been waiting to try dip painting. Well, there will be a complete video on how I did this. Now, I wouldn't do it the exact same way I did it here. Again, I would do it slightly different, but that's the beauty of learning things. Last night I decided I need to build a quad with my printer. Very cool. It's a fun use for a printer. Cheers, Modbot. It's funny, the chat is really funny on my end. Alright, but who cares? We'll move on. So this is my favorite box that I always use. This is the last quad that we put together on the channel. This is kind of the leftover parts and kind of the spares and handy stuff. I like this box. It sounds stupid, but I like having this size of box where I can just sort of stuff everything into it, where I can walk away and then come back. So what we're gonna do, basically we're just gonna dump. This is the GB210 that we're gonna build all the parts, and we'll go over them in a minute here. We'll dump them all into there, and then we'll take our previous build and we're gonna kind of retire it. Actually, let's just save the front label. If we save the front label, that'll be good enough. Cheers, Hackin' Facets. Glad you guys could join tonight. And we'll go ahead and sort of relinquish everything. We'll get rid of that to the bin. We won't need the box anymore, but we will need a fair bit of these pieces again someday. And actually, I'm not done with the antennas yet. This quad, this 225, I haven't even finished maidening yet, to be honest. I did the maiden on it initially in the backyard and it flew great, and I did some of the initial PID tuning on it, but I did not get it out and give it a good run yet. So these are the nature of experimenting and playing around. Need too many things on the go. 225. I'll remember. I'll relabel that later. It goes on the shelf anyway. Alright, now we got something. Now we got our big box of goodies. So we've got our Emax motors, hopefully. I've never even checked this kit yet. Hopefully we've got all of our parts. We've got the Emax red bottom 2205s. Awesome motor. Simply love this kit. We've got our SP Racing F3. We've got our Little B speed controls. And hopefully, somewhere in here, we have the rest of a frame. Yeah. here's the rest of the frame. This is what we care about tonight. I think I want some of these pieces, because what I want to do is just assemble some of the standoffs and make this look kind of pretty for now. And then, should we do the speed controls tonight too? I think we maybe should. I don't know. It's up to you guys. What we're going to do, so I named this the Red October build, and it's kind of a multifaceted name, I hope. What I want to do is I want to do my first waterproof quadcopter. So what we're going to do is we're going to disassemble these little B 30 amp speed controls, and we're going to take them out of this nice heat shrink that they come in, and we're going to ditch that completely. And then we're going to use some of this wonderful stuff. This is MG Chemicals Conformal Coating. I also have it in a spray, but basically it's like, well, it's a waterproofing. It's a conformal coating for specifically for electronics. Really, really high resistance value. It's not going to screw with electronics, hopefully. They charge through the nose for this stuff. MG Chemicals is kind of the big namer out there, the only one available that I could find on my local Amazon, on Amazon Canada. And we're going to go ahead, we're going to waterproof everything and then reseal it up. So hopefully our little Red October quadcopter can put up with a little bit of water in the winter. With any luck. Cheers, John. And so for tonight, real quick, I think all I'm going to do is go ahead. Oh yeah, check these out. We get to try out our new Allen wrenches that I got. These were newer, branded from Amazon. Really, really nice. I think I'm going to like these, but my first time using them. We'll go ahead and just put a few of the standoffs in here and make this quad look like a quad, and then we'll go ahead and do the speed controls and stuff, and then sort of park it for a little bit. And if I remember right, I don't have my other quad to look at. Did this thing come with any instructions whatsoever? No. Or did it? Oh, maybe it did. Hold on. Hold on. There might just be an instruction. Nope. Gearbest packaging crap. Maytech power distribution board. Doesn't matter. Which way was which? This is the front, so this will be the back then, because that's where the cameras mount. Perfect. That'll be fine. We can make that work. And what I did is I went ahead and already took my Dremel tool to all the holes in this after I painted it, and you guys will get to see all that in the paint video that's upcoming. How I kind of the process I went through. There's nothing to it. There's really nothing to dip painting. People make it out like it's such a hard thing, but it really, really wasn't. Now, mind you, mine could have turned out much better than it did, but I'm pretty happy with these results. This is going to be a pretty neat looking quadcopter. What do you guys think? Think it passes muster and looks kind of neat? Oh, I think it looks pretty cool, all things considered. What are those short standoffs for? I forget. Doesn't matter. Let's just go ahead and put, let's say 4 of these on. Maybe a couple more. Just enough so I can take some pictures. And then the next live show we can go ahead and just pop this back apart, and then we can start mounting everything and do the waterproofing and stuff. That's going to be fun. Is that metal? This is carbon fiber, and these are aluminum, the standoffs. It is strictly carbon fiber, which is why everybody generally just leaves them black carbon fiber, like just the color of carbon, but I don't know. I wanted something different this time. I want to do something out of the ordinary. All my quads are just black carbon, nothing special, and I thought this would be really cool to do something a little special. I think it looks pretty cool. I don't know. You tell me, guys. What do you think? I think this will be pretty good. Hopefully all my American friends out there are having a fantastic Memorial Day weekend. For us Canucks, last weekend was our Victoria Day weekend. I don't know why we don't just, one country just move. I don't know whether we could move Victoria Day to match up with Memorial Day. That'd be kind of cool. Be a little better if things matched up. There. Oh yeah, that looks wicked. What are the 4 small standoffs? God, it's been so long since I made a 210. What are these 4 smaller standoffs? Are those for the landing gear? Jeez, I can't even remember. It's been so long. I haven't put together a 210 quad in a bit. There's not much to it. Unfortunately, they don't give you any assembly instructions or anything like that, so you gotta go by what you find on the interwebs. And John says it looks good. And Alan says it looks good. David says it looks good. Cheers, David. Glad you. Happy birthday, David. Is it still your birthday, or is it past your birthday now? What time is it? Yeah, I guess it's past your birthday now. Happy birthday regardless, buddy. Have a beer on me. Pretty sure I owe you a beer or two. I love the way the bottom of this turned out. Look at that. Like, wow, it kind of looks like a bird poop over here. It definitely wasn't my best work, but I don't know. I'm pretty happy with it. I think it's going to be... It's Instagram worthy, I think. Once I get this out and take it out to the other room and put it under the studio lights, I think this is going to go over well. The quad world hasn't overly caught on to the dip painting yet. There's people who specialize in it and sell it for a large amount of money. And I'm kind of happy that I discovered that it's a lot easier than what I thought to do. But yeah, there we go. Oh yeah, there we go. Oh, that is different. That is definitely unique. One of a kind. There's no other quad in the world that looks quite like this, even if it isn't perfect. Oh, that's a little nutty. I'm happy with that. That's going to be a lot of fun. The 4 are the landing gear. Cheers, Dr. Teddy. I thought so. I couldn't remember whether this actually came with these landing gear or not, because, well, nobody ever uses them, but yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I just got back from a few days camping. Cheers, John. Drunkenly still awake past my birthday. Cheers, David. Awesome, guys. Thanks for the input. See, this is the beauty of live streaming. I don't need instructions. I can just ask you guys. You guys have the answers for me, which is pretty damn handy. Hopefully the audio is a little better tonight. I'm using my lav mic. The audio and this is the second stream with the new rig here. Oh, check this out. You guys want to see a little sneak peek? Watch this. I also have... Oh, yeah, that's not going to work there, is it? So we're going to have to move that around. Oh, what the heck? I'm just going to have to... Yeah, let's do that. Check this out. Now, when we want to do, like, checking solder joints and stuff, this is the actual carbon fiber on this quadcopter. And I can focus. And we now have a USB microscope that actually works, tied into my streaming PC. How handy is that going to be? I think that's going to be fan-freaking-tastic for when we do builds and stuff. Get to hang out with you guys, stream live, got the chat, got Drunken David's on his birthday. We can have a blast. Alright, so I'm just going to leave that for now because, like I said, I need to do a video on it. But what we could do is we can go ahead and get these speed controls ready to go, I think. What we're going to have to do, we're going to have to get them all out. We're going to strip them. We're going to strip them bare. Basically everything they come with has got to go because it's junk and no good to us. And then we'll water seal them, make them hopefully this quad, if I don't destroy it before winter, hopefully will be an awesome machine to take out in the winter months in the snow. And I won't have to be concerned about drying it out and destroying it and whatnot. I'll just be able to just go plow it into the snowbank and pick it back up. And it'll be like a submarine. Semi-waterproof. We'll see. Does that microscope come with a stand? Only what's under it. These things are under $20 on Amazon. Actually, I'm pretty sure I have it on the Make Me store, on the makeme.org/store. The exact one that I have. It says 25 to 200. It's actually a pretty good little microscope. The Windows drivers that they've updated recently work really good with it. I'm actually highly impressed. Let's go ahead and turn our bigger iron on. We need somewhere in here. We need one of those. You have a little noise floor on your lav mic. You'll hear it on the playback, but it isn't distracting. Thanks, David. Yeah. I kind of wondered whether I could see that a little bit, that there was quite a bit of noise floor, and I think it's because of the... I'll just mess around and do some recording after. I got a little premature and went live before I tested it, so apologies. Hopefully it's better than the last run. The last live show, the audio was not the best, to be honest. I wasn't terribly proud of it after. Oh wow, this stuff is tough. You have to get creative to get this heat shrink off of here. What we don't want to do is damage the board underneath in any way, but we want this heat shrink off of here. It's gotta go. And then we'll be able to solder to it, and then waterproof and all that good stuff. Move the cameras around just a little bit. About something like that. Maybe a little better. There we go. Happy free speed control. So then we will take and we're going to remove the motor wires because we're not going to use those at all. The red bottom motors come with plenty enough leads, and we'll get rid of all this lead-free solder crap that's on here and solder directly on. It's going to be just beautiful. This is going to be a wicked build. I'm going to be super happy with this, I think. Note the little standoffs are not very durable and only take a slight impact. Yeah, the ones for the landing gear, these ones are robust as all hell. I don't use them for the landing gear. Unless you're talking about the standoffs for the flight controller, in which case I also just use my own. I don't use the ones that come with the kit. I have a complete kit of standoffs. This is really good heat shrink that comes. So these are the Little B 30 amp speed controls. These things they're fantastic. They're not like the most up to date nowadays. They don't run the newest firmware, but they're really good, and you can tell, like, even, it sounds dumb, but even just the quality of the heat shrink that they place on them, it's kind of an indicator that it's pretty good stuff. They are not complete cheap junk. Sweet. Oh. And I think what we'll try and do, I do have heat shrink inbound, some big clear stuff that we might be able to replace this. If we don't, I will use like hockey tape, and as well as the conformal coating. And we will be all set, and these things will be hopefully completely watertight. I need to move my monitor closer. Cheers, Kirby. Awesome. This is a little tricky if you really don't want to. I don't want to slice down the board because this is at least a 2-layer board. I think they're only a double-layer board, but in case there is a third layer that I'm not aware of, I would rather not cause damage to it with my X-Acto knife. It'd be a lot easier if this was cheaper heat shrink. This stuff is tough. There we go. But it's not gonna be it's not nearly waterproof. It does work pretty good for drying out. As you'll see, I've got a video coming on how I dried out my quadcopter when I dumped it in the drink. And it does allow that. Alright, now he's away. Alright, let's go ahead. Let's get some junk out of the way. And we will, which third hand can we use? Let's use this one, just because it's convenient. Like I mentioned, we're going to reuse the motor leads, so we just want to get rid of, or we're going to reuse the red and the black leads, we just want to get rid of the motor leads. Let's go ahead, let's find, where's some cheap garbage solder, because we don't need anything too crazy. Let's try out this stuff. I haven't even tried it yet. It's right from eBay China. Let's see how it works. This is lead-free solder on these things, so what we're going to do is we're going to heat it up, and then we're going to get rid of that solder by adding some fresh stuff to allow us to wick the heat in there, and then get rid of the wire. And that little bit of solder that we added, we're going to add a little bit more after. And then we will use our solder wick and our solder sucker to get rid of all of this lead-free garbage that's on here. And make it gone. It is just yucky, yucky stuff. We're going to move to a little hotter iron. Let's go ahead and turn it up. Let's go 450 on that iron. This is just a really cheap one, but sweet. It will do the job. Let's get rid of it. Let's start off with a solder sucker. Oh yeah, that done the trick. Sweet. Now let's not use that cheap garbage solder. Let's use some real stuff. We'll prep pads. Oh yeah. Should have my my fan running, my fume extractor, but it's pretty loud and screws with the video a little bit. So now, seeing as how we have a microscope, I'll show you guys what that looks like. Because this is kind of the key to soldering, is to make sure you do a good job on your prep. Those are what solder looks like. See how shiny that is, and nice balls. Nice round like a, I don't know, little globe, like, I don't know, it's tough to describe. It should be raised up in a nice round fashion and nice and clean and shiny. That's what you should look like, and that's what's gonna, like, although that's not a finished joint, that's what is gonna allow us to easily solder to that later. All we do is tin our wires and drop them on, and because we've done the prep and that's nice and clean and good solder, it's going to be painless when we go to solder our motor leads on. And that's kind of the key to electronics, is just the prep work up front, and, well, knowing what you're dealing with too. The fact that I've dealt with these speed controls before, and I know this crappy lead-free solder stuff is on here. I know exactly just to give up, get rid of it right away. Oops, that's not good. Just tin your tip. And why that's being such a pain. That is lead-free solder for you. It does not want to heat. I know that's probably tough to see on camera, but it's the best I can do. A little fresh rosin core solder on there makes it so much easier. Then you take your solder sucker. You can also use solder wick for this, but because of the sheer volume that I'm dealing with here, I'll go ahead and just use the solder sucker right away. You can also throw some flux on there if you really want to, but there's really no need for it. And I can see there's quite a bit of lead-free still in that middle pad, and we'll go ahead and get rid of it. There. I can tell just by the way that that is instantly heating up, that we're nice 60-40 solder on there now. Nice and clean and shiny. And I can prove it. The beauty of having the microscope now. Pretty happy about that. Beauty. Bad camera angle with the light, but you get the idea. Nice and shiny. Just perfect. Lead solder for the win. Absolutely, David. Kind of sucks that it's really too bad that lead-free sucks as bad as it does. It really does, because the stuff is, no question, there's a reason that we wanted to go that way. And there's a reason we use it in electronics and mass-produced stuff, which is awesome. I'm glad they do. Unfortunately, servicing it is a proper nightmare. It's too bad the stuff sucks so bad. It would be just so much better if it didn't suck. Yochi. When you touch your iron, it burns you. Sweet. Yoch, and then you touch it again. This is the drawback of working with a camera in between you and your work. So, can we see that? Can you guys see how dull those are right now because of the lead-free solder? And partially because it's been reheated and there's no rosin, but mostly because it's just the lead-free crap. It's just dull and pasty and chunky, and I don't know how to describe it other than that. It's just fugly. And then we'll go ahead and put some leaded solder on the tip. We'll use it to let that pool, and then we'll just suck it off of there. And then we'll repeat once more, and she'll be pretty as can be. Don't even attempt to solder this stuff without removing all of this crap. You will just end up being pissed at yourself because you'll never understand why nothing works in your favor. And you can see that now. See how shiny that is? That's what you're shooting for. So now we go ahead, and that's just the pads with just a light layer of solder on there. And now we'll go ahead and give them a nice proper pad with 60-40 with a really hot iron. See how quickly that pools up, makes that nice little round bulge. And that speed control is prepped. And then you repeat one more time, and this is the nature of electronics. USB microscope works great for that. Thanks, Alan. Cheers, Balaji. Yeah, lead-free is great for one-time machine soldering, just not for rework or hobbyists. Couldn't agree more, David. Yeah, I'm actually glad that they use it on like mainstream electronics, because when you think about it, think how much of that goes into the environment, because a lot of people don't recycle their electronics. So the less lead that we can throw into the water table, the better. Unfortunately, it's just a proper nightmare for us as hobbyists to work with. So we'll go ahead, same thing. Add a little bit more just to make that really flow off. Oh yeah, that is fugly. That is yucky stuff. I should have demoed using some wick. We could use wick too, but there's really no need for something like this. When you're not around a lot of surface mount components, you can go ahead and use the solder sucker. It's you also want to make sure that the board is robust if you're using a solder sucker. Because if the pads are, if it's at all a shitty board and a cheap piece of junk, the solder sucker will pull the trace right off the board in like 50-50. Whereas you can get away with not having that if you use wick. But I know these boards, I've built enough of these now, so like I mentioned earlier, these are pretty high quality speed controls, so they're pretty robust. Oh yeah, that's what we want. The key is to have a really good hot iron too. Really, really good hot iron. Let's try that. Let's try a different angle this time. Do it. I need to learn how to use this anyway, so the sooner I learn, the better. There we go. Can we focus? Oh yeah. That is what the pads look like after I just soldered them. Pretty shiny. Nice, clean, good margins because of the flux and the 60/40 solder. You have no problem, and that's what we're shooting for. So high quality before we go to attach our wires. And I don't know. I can't stress it enough. In electronics, just taking the time. I see so many people on YouTube soldering, and it just makes me cringe when you see what they do. If it's not clean and shiny and glossy, redo it. You did it wrong. Do it better with either a hotter iron, more rosin, more flux, or just practice your skills. Sweet. There we go. 4-speed controls ready to go into Project Red October. We are good to go. I'm not going to solder those up because we need to do our motors mounted first, and I want to do the pictures first. And we'll go ahead and mount the motors on the arms. They're just 3-phase AC essentially, well, modified. Well, they're a square wave that goes to it, but they're an AC 3-phase motor. And we'll go ahead and we'll solder them to the 3 phases on the speed control, and we'll be all set. These are a pretty wicked little motor. We should have good luck with this. This is going to be a beast of a quad. I already have a clone to this, or like a sister to it, and it flies like a rocket ship. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll waterproof the heck out of everything, and I don't know, maybe if we get real brave, we can go ahead and dunk it underwater just to prove the concept. What I'm thinking is I'm going to do some Arduino and Raspberry Pi projects and try this conformal coating on them, and I'll do a live demo on the bench here of an Arduino running underwater. I have confidence in it. I've used this stuff before, and be a handy thing for people doing Pi projects and Arduino projects. They're putting them in weatherproof boxes outside, like weather stations and stuff. If you put this conformal coating on there, you won't end up with the corrosion over time just from the moist air. So that could be a fun little project too. I think that's going to be it for tonight, guys. David's got to go to bed. Cheers, dude. Good to have you. That is it for me, guys. I'm going to wind it down here. Glad you could join me. This is the first part of the Red October build. I think it's going to be a fun one. We'll go ahead and get it assembled, program flight controllers, solder up motors, everything in the future episodes, and do this thing live step by step with you guys. Super easy. There's nothing to building a quadcopter. Anyone can do it. And totally rewarding. That's actually quite cheap. It's not that expensive a hobby anymore. And the performance out of these little 210s is just it's just ludicrous. These things, I just laugh every time I fly it. How long does the coating last? Indefinitely, John. It's unless you disturb it in some way with heat or mechanical force or whatever. It's the same conformal coating they use in it's actually the same company that makes the stuff for automotive, like the PCM, the computer modules inside your car, the multiple modules now. Most of them, if they're not dipped in like a solid bath of epoxy goo, they're coated in this stuff. Same company. Cool, guys. Cheers, Alan. Thanks a lot. I'm glad you guys could make it tonight. I will see you guys again soon. Cheers.